Hi guys and welcome to my latest review. Now what we have here today is Topping L30 and it's a standalone headphone amplifier. And you might have guessed by the name already, it's meant to pair with their E30 DAC. As you can see, it's the same in size, same in design. It's only that I have different color options here because yeah, well, never mind why. There's nothing special in the box. Basically, you receive the L30 itself, the adapter from 6.22 to 3.5 millimeters, so you can attach anything to it, USB cable, and like this really chunky power supply. And maybe my first complaint about the whole L30 package is the power supply itself. It's quite chunky, and if you have like a tightly packed power strip, it tends to take the spot on the left and on the right. And it's also quite short. You can see this is the whole cable. I think it's probably like half meter or something like that. And at least in my case, it's problematic because my power strip is on the floor. But okay, that's maybe a minor complaint. For the L30 itself, it's built really nice. It's made of aluminum, same as E30. And the front panel is again some sort of glass looking shiny board, which looks really nice actually. And both front panel and aluminum sides are quite fingerprint magnets. So you can already see the ones on mine, I suppose. So let's start with some features and functionalities. On the back here, because this is just a headphone amp, it doesn't have DAC integrated. It's fairly simple. You have one input, line input, RCA, and one output. Why do you need output? Well, to just pass through the signal to something else. Maybe your active speakers, your integrated amp, something like that. And in that case, if you do that, you have to use this switch and put L30 in the preamp mode. So you still get the volume control, but you cannot have both headphone output and this line output active at the same time. You have to choose either headphones or line output. You cannot use both at the same time. And other than power switch, you can see gain selector on the right. It has 0, -9 and +9 decibels. For a lot of headphones that are decently sensitive, 0 decibels is actually a very good choice because in my opinion it introduces the least amount of coloration. It means it's slightly more transparent in my opinion than, for example, +9 decibels. But the difference is really small, nothing really to worry about. +9 actually sounds a little bit warmer, which a lot of you might prefer actually. Try it out, play with it, see which one suits you and your headphones. -9 is actually only if you are using really highly sensitive earphones. For example, some sort of in-ears, and you find 0 to be too much. Maybe you experience some sort of background hiss. I didn't have that experience. Or maybe your volume goes too high too fast. You have too little headroom to play with volume control. So you go to -9 and you can use much bigger portion of volume knob. And now we are done talking about features and build. Let's move to the sound quality. Regarding its sound, I can just tell you it sounds, first of all, very good. And that means it is really powerful. It is dynamic sounding. And it is quite neutral in its nature. What this means, for example, let's start with the bass line. Bass line is quite punchy and I like that. It's punchy, it has firm control over bass notes, and it's just, you know, quick and there's a lot of discipline there. I really liked that part. Moving up the range, I cannot detect any sort of bass bleeding to the mid-range. There is no warming of the mid-range. It's just really crisp, really clear mid-range, maybe even slightly on the lean side, but I'm not really sure. I think it's mostly neutral. And same goes for higher frequencies. They're quite present, quite prominent, not too much. I wouldn't call it sharp or bright. It's just very transparent. I hate using that word because a lot of people nowadays misuse it. They say for everything that measures well that it's transparent, and it's definitely not. But I feel with L30 that it's quite transparent for what it is, because if I pair it with different sources, different DACs, the sound signature that I'm getting is usually dominated by the source itself, which is a good thing. And that actually means that a piece of gear is transparent. I have difficulty detecting its own sound signature, except hearing really nice dynamics, punchiness, and firm grip on bass notes, on transients. And that's actually good. It means it's doing its job. Now, when it comes to pairing, first, of course, I tried it with L30 here. It's so logical. They're like meant to be stacked together. And I was really happy with this pairing. Basically, everything I already said about E30, you know, I liked this DAC quite a lot. Just transition to this combo too. It has quite wide soundstage. It has a lot of details. Everything is nicely separated. It sounds well controlled, dynamic. Bass line is firm. I really liked that. And this combo together is around $250. So for me, it was logical to compare it to something else. For example, like this Earman TR amp, 2-in-1 DAC/amp, which is also 250. And the results were really close. This one sounded a little bit warmer in the upper bass region, in the mids too, slightly fuller, if I can say so. But its control over bass region is not as good. And some transients also are controlled better. They have more energy, more punchiness, more impact through this stack. And in general, it's quite close, quite matched battle. This one for control, for microdynamics, for really sharp transients. This one for slightly softer, slightly more full-bodied approach at cost of losing a tiny bit of control and firm grip over your headphones. But very interesting thing actually happened when I tried L30 with some other DACs. And for example, SMSL Sanskrit 10th MKII. This is Mark II, like the latest version that I really liked and reviewed like 2 weeks ago, I think. It basically has slightly warmer and fuller bodied sound signature than E30 here. E30 is able to throw a little bit wider soundstage and dig a little bit more details from higher regions of the sound spectrum, but this one has some sort of full bodiness in the mid-range, especially in the lower mid-range. And when you pair it with L30, you get something that's full-bodied, but still has great grip, great control, and I really like this sound too. Now, it's not as nice looking stack as like native topping gear that is meant to be put together, but I just wanted to mention this because depending on your preferences and depending on your gear, you might prefer some other combo than the topping actually meant you to make. And yeah, I forgot to mention, L30 actually also pairs great with Schiit Modi Multibit, which is slightly more expensive than these two, but it has that really full, juicy multi-bit sound, and paired with L30, L30 actually lets its character to come through, and the combo sounds like that. And I know a lot of you will ask me to compare topping stack to Schiit stack, like Modi 3 plus Magni 3 Plus is currently selling. I haven't heard Magni 3 Plus and Heresy, but I did have Modi 3 and Magni 3. And in my experience, E30 is better DAC than Modi 3. It just has more details, wider soundstage, it's livelier sounding, while Magni 3 is actually slightly warmer and more full-bodied sounding than L30. So if you just compare this stack against that old Modi 3 plus Magni 3, I would probably choose this one, but I think it wins mostly because of the more capable DAC. When it comes to amps themselves, I think that the Magni 3 was a hugely capable amplifier. It maybe added a little bit of warmth and full bodiness to the sound. I actually liked that. I'm not saying it's better than L30, they're just slightly different. This one is more lean, more just flat sounding. I know a lot of people prefer that. I would say amps are quite equal, but E30 is more capable than Modi 3. So yeah, that's it. But going back to this stack on hand, would I recommend it? Is it good? Yes, I would. And yes, it's really good. For 250 bucks, I never heard anything better. I heard some things that are slightly different, but not better. It's as good headphone stack as it gets at that price. And I will probably be keeping L30 for myself for some time, but I'll be pairing it with SMSL Sanskrit 10th because I really do like that slightly fuller sound signature that these two provide. And also because I'm using hifi and planar headphones as my daily driver, and those are a little bit brighter sounding up top, a little bit leaner sounding in the upper regions, and that means this combo suits them better than this one. So that would be all for today, guys. Now, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe and share it with your friends so this channel can grow and bring even more interesting reviews like this one. See you next time.